What's up, everybody? It's Thursday night, 9 p.m., and it's your favorite thing to do on a Thursday night. It's the Mike and Mish Show. What up, Mike?
Yo, what is happening? The
Oh,
internet's trying to sabotage our life tonight.
dude,
And the kids.
I'm sitting here on the best internet in the Eastern Seaboard. I'm dealing with the best kids ever, and I'm just having a grand old time, as I always do in the Mish house. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Before we came on, I was playing with this awesome. Look at this. This is probably the coolest thing that came out of Legoland. This cool ass.
Oh.
Look at this knife. This is solid too. You can beat the hell out of each other with this thing. We were having battles, medieval battles. Me and the girls.
You guys were LARPing?
Yeah, we were. We were LARPing.
I think I saw a post of Big Ben Rothwell this afternoon, dressed up in like some medieval evil garb with like a giant ass sword. I think he might be a gigantic LARPer. I don't know, man. He might be
really like he's out there doing real deal LARPing, and he's like the Mountain.
He's
like the real life version of the Mountain from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, maybe he really would be, dude. We got a really awesome show tonight. We had an awesome show last night. Shout out to Trinidad Snake and HD for stopping by. Last night was super fun. We went over BKFC 49. We broke the card down pretty well last night. And one of the fights that was on that card, we talked a lot about this man's opponent because we believe he's one of the rising stars from the BKFC right now. But this guy has been a fan favorite of the BKFC fan base since BKFC 2. The ultra popular, the beloved fucking Tom Shoaff in the house tonight. Let's bring him right on, dude.
Yo.
What is up?
Beloved.
The beloved. You are, man. I'm telling you. We talked about this today. Your popularity is like crazy. And like we wanted to talk to you about that. When you got into the BKFC back in BKFC 2, did you have any idea that you were going to go down 5 years later as like one of the most popular fighters they ever had on their roster?
Didn't have a clue. To be honest with you, I looked at the BKFC as a way for me to continue to make money while getting better in my grappling and my jiu-jitsu so that I could eventually go back to my MMA career, because that's what I had been doing for, 11 years. And then I just kind of fell in love with it. Stylistically, it matched me very well. I prefer to stand up and strike. I prefer to throw my hands versus my hands and my feet. So it worked. It made sense. 5 years to the day, was my last fight. And I've yet to be in an MMA fight since in those 5 years. I've only fought 9 times, and those were all for the BKFC. Done a couple grappling competitions and stuff like that. But the moral of the story is I got into the BKFC so that I could get better at grappling, and I spent 5 years focusing on my striking.
Who was your conduit to the BKFC?
Arnold Adams. I went to when Arnold got selected for the heavyweight tournament, and my buddy Lloyd Carter, who was a training partner of mine, and my buddy Jorge Gonzalez, who was a training partner of mine, were all scheduled to fight on BKFC 1. So I flew out there to corner, and George and Lloyd, both of their fights wound up falling out. So I volunteered to fight. I was like, hey, look, I fight these guys for free in the gym every day. So like, if you're gonna pay me, like I'll fight them tomorrow if you're gonna pay us for it. Obviously, they couldn't let that fly. However, they enjoyed my spirit, so to speak. So they called me for the next show. But I was there to corner at the first show. I've quite literally been with the BKFC since they opened the doors.
You really have, and we talked about it. You've been a topic of conversation for like the last week, obviously for reasons everyone knows. You decided to hang up the wraps. Yeah, hang up the wraps.
Is that an official term now? Is that an official term?
It's gotta be. It has to be. We don't wear gloves.
Right. Yeah, you hung up the wraps. I mean, it is kind of crazy. There's a lot of crazy stats like that with you. Like one thing that I was telling Mike. You have fought on 9 different occasions for the BKFC. The BKFC has frequented certain locations many times, right? They've had I don't know what the number is right now. I know they're on BKFC 50, but I want to say that they're at like 60 events, right? 60 something.
Yeah, they've had their fight nights and they've had their Knuckle Mania shows and stuff like that. So yeah, they're probably right around 55, 60 shows.
So they have frequented the Hollywood Hard Rock. They've frequented like the spot out in Biloxi. You have fought 9 times for them in 9 different locations. Did you ever? Did you even notice that, Tom?
You know, I don't think that I ever put that together. I just know that I go to Florida a lot.
You do,
yes.
So here it is, dude. Here it is.
Like 4 times, maybe.
Check this out: Biloxi, Cancun, Tampa, Daytona Beach, Birmingham, Montana, Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, Miami. Not. I'm like, dude, how does somebody who fights so often for this company who goes to the same venues all the damn time not make it to the same venue twice? I just thought that was crazy.
I enjoy that, man, and maybe they did it on purpose. I genuinely don't know. You know, they want me to hit all different sections of the states in the area, make sure everybody gets a taste. But man, it's all I can really say about it is it's been great. It's been a pleasure. You know, I've really enjoyed being with. I really can't say that. I don't know that I can say I've enjoyed being with the company. I've enjoyed the last couple of years, but the company has made it difficult to enjoy. All of that said, I've been able to travel all over the place. I've been able to meet a lot of wonderful people. So I really can't be upset about it too much, you know.
Do you think that the relationship between you and the company had to do with them being so brand new and kind of learning as they go, and you guys just not seeing eye to eye on things? Is that what it?
No, I don't think it was anything like that at all. Personally speaking, and this is Feldman and I have talked about this. So as far as Dave Feldman and I go, we're great. We are awesome. There's no animosity or tension between him and I in any way, shape, or form. But he has some people working underneath him that are not great. They're not even good. I wouldn't even give them good. And dealing with those people day in and day out is what did it for me. All I want to do, all any fighter wants to do, is get paid to fight. And any respectable fighter, any reasonable fighter wants to get paid what they think they deserve to be paid in comparison to others. And I don't think that what I was asking for or the things that I was requiring to go out and perform were outlandish. I think that me being a knowledgeable fighter and being in the game for as long as I have, but not being well known outside of the BKFC was enough to throw those people on the team off. And they're like, who is this fucking guy? He's a nobody. Why does he think he can talk to us like this? And it's like, well, I'll tell you why I think I can talk to you like this, because every time I get in there, I give you the best fucking fight you've ever seen. That's why I feel like I can do this. So again, I don't think it had anything to do with them being a new company. I think it had everything to do with the people in the position that they were in, taking advantage of the fighters, thinking that, you know, that I need them. And I don't. I think that's the best way that I can describe it. Like I don't.
Like, have you
on top of that, it's like you guys fight me. I fought 9 times in 5 years. Do the math. That's once every 7.5 months. Like,
right.
At this point, I'm a hobbyist. Like, I'm not even a professional. Like, I'm just a guy who comes to sell tickets for you. And if you're not going to pay me for that, then I'm not going to continue to sell tickets for you. So that was the crux of the argument. That honestly was the long and the short of it. Was I felt like I was underutilized and undervalued, and there were members on the team that would not change course or change mind. So I stopped fighting.
No. Did you give them like an AR, like an after action review walking out the door? Did you give them like a summary, like, hey, straight up, like, I don't like this person, and not because I'm trying to be an asshole, but these are the exact reasons why. And I've heard this from X, Y, and Z people, and this is what I think could make things better. Not even to be a douche, like just to be like, hey, this is how you can make the company better. And this is why I am not happy about some things.
Well, a lot of people had no clue that I was retiring. A lot of people, they didn't even know this is the last fight of the contract. They didn't have a clue. So when I showed up for the weekend of the fight, everybody wanted to talk about it. Everybody wanted to know what was going on. And I'm a very honest person. I have no reason to lie or misinform or anything like that. So I just told everybody the truth. I told people what was going on. People who worked for the company, obviously not nobody who didn't need to know, but people who are in the know and people who work for the company. I told them, I named names and I said what was going on. I said what I liked and what I didn't like. And it was actually me having those conversations that led to me and Feldman having a conversation. And that's why he and I are good. Because anytime I've had problems in the past, I've always reached out to Dave and I've always talked to him and he's settled everything fair and square and everything's been great. Dave has been wonderful to me personally. I will say nothing otherwise because it's the absolute truth. But again, there are people on his team that I don't care for and I don't think care for me and don't make it unknown. So yeah, before leaving, I definitely had those words, had those conversations, said the things that I felt like I needed to say to the people who needed to hear it. And hopefully things change, hopefully for the guys who come after me, they don't have to deal with these things. They don't have to put themselves through the stuff that I went through, for, in my opinion, the fucking chump change that I got. Not trying to sound ungrateful because I'm not, but if you can pay not Ben. What's his face? That fucking douchebag that fought for 90 seconds. Luke Rockhold. If you can pay Luke Rockhold fucking almost 7 figures for 90 seconds of a fight, you can pay me more than what you fucking paid me for 8 of the best fights you've ever had. But again, that's we're at the point now where that's water under the bridge.
Right. And obviously when you say 8 and then leave the 9th one off, you're talking about this last one. And we'll talk about that in a second. Yeah. And that brings me back to that. You fought a guy who's 22 years old, 6'3", this up and coming, like bright future star. Mm-hmm. You didn't have to fight that kid. And that brings me back to you being the company man that you have been. You fought anybody they threw in front of you and you never turned them down. You fought Elmore, you fought fucking Julian Lane,
pounds above my natural weight class.
Julian Payne
right after that,
Right.
I've
you were probably fighting outside of a division that you really should have been fighting the whole time. You probably should have been down at 155 the whole time, for sure. But you were doing what they were asking you to do. And then in this last one, it was pretty clear that, I don't know if you were checked out before you stepped in there, but and he also did clip you in the same eye that you injured with Palomino. So, what really was the deal with that fight with Bryce? Was it already a reoccurring injury that you didn't want to get more damaged, or?
I said this to somebody the other day, and I feel like it made the most sense for me. I feel like that. He hit me with the jab. He hit me with a handful of shots in that fight. My face is product of it. But he hit me with a shot. First of all, to touch on your point, no, I didn't want to be there. Like that's the first and foremost. I didn't want to be there. I tried to get out of my contract for months. Technically, my contract expired back in April. But because I still had one fight, we were on verbal extension and things got pushed back and so on and so forth. So I had to do the fight. I signed on the contract. I had to do the fight. And then they gave me a couple of names, and it was basically all young, tough, fucking up and coming kids that they were, they expect to be fucking stars. So it's like, all right, well, it doesn't matter who I'm going to fight. Like it's going to be fucking ugly and it's not going to be pleasant for me. So I just signed whoever, they wanted me to fight because it was what it was. So all that said, going into the fight, I didn't want to be there. I didn't want the fight. I didn't want to be there for the fight. I didn't care about the money. I just didn't want to be there anymore. But I think the straw that broke the camel's back was that shot to the eye. I took a handful of shots that night, and none of them were over the top or really hurt me in the general sense. But he hit me with a jab that just was right where Luis hit me. and it just froze me. I guess that's the best way that I can describe it. I kind of leaned in, and when I leaned in, I ran into the punch, and instantly both my hands went up, and I took a knee, and I was like, I'm done. Like I said, I think it was just the 5 years of taking bare knuckle damage on top of the 11 years of taking MMA damage, and my mentality of not wanting to be there, on top of the fact that I knew it was my last fight. I knew I wasn't going to be getting paid any more money. It was an accumulation of, why are you doing this? Why would you continue to bleed for these people when they don't care? So I quit. Like, honestly and truly, I just said no. Like, I patted the ref on the side and I said, I'm good, man. Call it. I walked over to Dave after the fight and I said, don't ever call me again. Like, I'm done, man. Like, no disrespect. And I didn't mean that disrespectfully, but that was basically what it was. It's like, don't ever call me to fight again, man. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done.
Wow.
That's what it was.
That's crazy, man. That's that's really heavy shit going into that. I mean, like, to hear it from you less than a week out from the fight, that's pretty crazy. And thank you for being so honest about that.
Oh,
so
yeah, of course.
Dude, so here you are, man, 7 days out from the fight. I know immediately after the fight, I think you were talking to Susan Singari, maybe. You were talking to someone, and I think they asked you what's next for you, and I don't think you had like a solid idea. You're like, you know what? I don't really know what's next for me. So let me just reiterate that question. Now you had a week to think about it. Are you still in the same state of mind, or have you thought about some things? What are we up to?
You know, I feel like the last 16 years of my life have been me making plans on what I'm going to do and relying on me and only me to get me through that. And that's just been a hard life. It's been really tough. And I was recently baptized, recently found Jesus, and I've really kind of given myself over to the Lord in the sense where I just kind of want to follow his lead and see where he takes me and what he wants me to do. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like, I know I'll always be involved in combat sports. I own a fucking gym. Like, I'm always going to be involved in this sport, you know, so whether it's coaching, you know, bringing up the next generation, I talked to a couple people about commentary positions, you know, maybe doing something like that. I genuinely don't know. But I can tell you with absolute certainty and a full heart that I don't ever foresee me fighting again. I genuinely don't.
That was going to be a follow-up question, not bare knuckle. Obviously, I mean, and you've made it very clear tonight that you're done with bare knuckle, but you are only 34 years old. You're a black belt in jiu-jitsu, right? You're a black belt in jiu-jitsu. You know how to strike, obviously. Would a venture back into MMA be a possibility? Now, it sounds like you just said no to that, but that was going to be a question for me.
You know, there may come a time, honestly and truly, there may come a time, maybe a couple of years down the road, you know, when everything's going right, and I'm like, yeah, maybe, you know, I still got the itch, you know, that could happen. I'm not eliminating the possibility of that being a thing, but I can tell you right now in my heart that I genuinely have zero interest in punching anybody ever again. Like, you know, like, I mean, obviously I'm only a week out from a fight, but like, I usually schedule sparring sessions for guys who have fights coming up weeks in advance. I haven't done that. I haven't reached out to anybody who may have camps coming up that I usually work with and help out, things like that. Like, I haven't done that. I've been on the mats. I've been doing a lot of jiu-jitsu. Hunter Colvin's down here, and he trains at our gym, and he's got a pretty big event coming up pretty soon. So I've been getting rounds in with him and some of our other guys. You know, I've been doing lots of jiu-jitsu. I'm all for jiu-jitsu, man. You know, if somebody wants to, you know, pay me to go do some grappling matches or something, like, sure, you know, I'd be down for that. But that violence, so to
Yeah.
speak, that aggression, that angst, anxiety, animosity, all that stuff, like to be as corny but as honest as I can after being baptized, I genuinely feel like that was washed away, you know, and I don't feel that way anymore. So like I don't see the point in doing it.
Now that you're out of bare knuckle, you don't want to do it anymore, but you have your gym and you do coach some people fighting. Would you still encourage people to fight bare knuckle? Would you still corner them for bare knuckle events, or are you pulling away from that completely? You're being like, I don't know if that's the right way to go. Like, how do you look at the sport now?
I think the only way that I can look at it is honest and realistic. I can be honest about my experiences, and I can be realistic about the repercussions that these people are going to have if they decide that that's what they're going to do. But I can't tell somebody not to do something or somebody to do something. You know, people told me not to fight my whole life, but I needed it.
Sure.
Like I can't explain it. I don't know why, but I needed it. It had to happen. If I didn't beat the fuck out of somebody on a daily basis, I'd be in prison. I'd be a fucking serial killer. Like I needed it, you know. So I can't tell people what to do and what not to do, and I wouldn't do that. But what I can do is give you my honest opinion on it. I can tell you what I went through. I can tell you what I did, and I can tell you what to expect, and you can make your own decision. And if you want to do it, I got you. I'll support you. I'll train you. I'll do what needs to be done to make sure you reach your finish line. But man, I reached my finish line, dude. I'm already here.
You know, you brought up jujitsu, and it just made me smile because you're like, well, you know, I'll always do jujitsu. Anybody that knows anybody that's been doing jujitsu for a long time, jujitsu is life, right? Like, and to make it to black belt, you'll never get off the mats for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
It's
your,
and
your
like
body doesn't feel right if
right.
you don't have tension in that sense.
some people like kind of bust balls and like call it kind of cult like sometimes, but you know what? It kind of is a little
Kind
bit
of like CrossFit.
Yeah, yeah, it's but better.
Right.
Yeah. And anybody that wants to hear Tom's like backstory into why he got into fighting, you did that interview with the Fuse, I don't know, about a year ago, and the Fuse out of UK, and you explained about bullying and getting into fights, and then like you had this mind state where like now that I'm like off probation, I'm gonna go find anybody that bullied me and I'm gonna beat the fuck out of them. And then you got yourself into more trouble, and then your mom was like, go do something with this. Yeah. Basically, I just summarized it, but that was a really good interview with the Fuse. And if anybody wants to see that, go check that out for sure.
Oh, well, thank you for saying that. And yeah, shout out to the Fuse because they asked some good questions that day. But that's really it, man. That's like, thank you, True God. Appreciate you, brother. That's really it, man. I got fucking picked on and bullied really bad when I was young. You know, in like freshman year in high school, sophomore year in high school, and then junior year, man, I just hit a growth spurt and I just didn't fucking care anymore. So I started beating people up.
You're like, I'm big now, motherfuckers. Where are you?
Exactly. Yeah, man. I went from 5'6" to 6 feet tall. I went from 145 pounds to 185 pounds in 3 months. I was on a mission. But yeah, man. Like, I had an interesting
and then
in the fight world, so to speak. But honestly, it's been great for me because where I'm at now, like we do these Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu camps every summer, and basically they're bully proof camps, you know. So it's like we bring 60 kids in for 4 days, and we teach them different striking techniques and different grappling techniques and different wrestling techniques, and then we end the whole thing with, you know, a word or two about Jesus. And basically what it is, you know, Jesus is your spiritual self-defense and jiu-jitsu is your real life physical self-defense. But I'm able to take the hardships and the lessons from, you know, when I was 13, 14, 15 years old and through 16 years of a career in molding myself into this human being. And now I can potentially make a difference in hundreds of kids' lives and make sure they never have to go through what I went through. So, you know, it's the same with, you know, the fighters and stuff like that. Like I can be honest with you and I can tell you what I went through and tell you what to expect. And you can make the decision from there. But because I've been there, I have an opportunity to help somebody else who wants to go there.
Man, I think that you are, and you saw Truck and Carson in there, and you got a bunch of people in here that you are just across the board respected, especially by the fighters and by the coaches. You got Bryce Henry's coach in the comments right now, giving you compliments, but he also wants to ask you your opinion on Bryce. Your honest opinion on Bryce. Your final opponent in the BKFC just happened to be this 22-year-old monster, and what do you see for the future for your last opponent there?
Gold.
I think a lot of people.
That's all I can say. I'll give you a BKFC perspective, and then I'll give you just a life perspective. In the BKFC, that kid will absolutely have gold wrapped around his waist in the next year and a half. And I tell you that because I'm pretty sure Luis Palomino just got off the surgery. So it'll be another year before he is able to fight again. And they're not going to keep the belt on hold for that long. And after what Bryce did to me in 90 seconds, with the exception of my debut for the company, that's never happened before. Nobody's ever and the guy who did that the first time had to go through hell to do it. Bryce put on a flawless victory. Yeah, I said this in another interview. It was like Mortal Kombat, flawless victory. Finish. Yeah. Like that's what it was like. Like it was absolutely beautiful, and I don't think that I could have a negative thing to say about Bryce as a fighter, as well as a person. I met him at the Fort Lauderdale show. I met his family at that show, and they were wonderful people. They came up to me at this show, and we got to hang out again and just, kind of enjoy some camaraderie before the fight and after the fight. They invited me to come down and go fishing, so like they're wonderful people. And the fact that he's 22 years old, he's fucking 6'4" with an 80-inch reach.
I know.
Like
he's
sick.
All you can, like I said, all I can say is gold. You keep doing he keeps doing what he's doing. Nobody's going to beat him. And that's with gloves or without gloves. Cause I'll be honest, man, like, I fought him without gloves, but I don't know that I'd want to fight him with gloves either. Like, I like to box. Like, I'll be honest, I like to box. But, like, that's not a boxing match. That's just me fucking defending myself for however many rounds they scheduled it.
I could tell you this. Mike and I have been talking about Bryce for a long time because Ryan Perez had been talking about Bryce to us for a long time. And it was like, he had been talking to us about Bryce for probably like 8-9 months prior to his debut.
Yep.
So we were just waiting. And if you talk to Ryan's coached a lot of guys. He just like you just said, he's going to be a champion with gloves on and gloves off.
Dude, he's so good. He's so good. Like, that's all I got.
At 22, I was an absolute mess of a human being. Yeah. I can tell you, like, I was definitely not fighting glove boxing professionally. Like, I didn't have the mental acuity. I could not focus on something like that. You know what I mean? Like, he's got it together.
Mike was trying to stay out of jail at 22 years old.
I was. That definitely was. Well, as many of us probably were.
Yeah, man, we've been there.
Purposefully and accidentally,
Right.
He's actually in the comments right now. Bryce said, respect to you. Hold on. Where is it? Let me put that up there. Yeah. So, yeah, respect to you, my brother. Appreciate all you have accomplished.
He has a brother who fights also.
Yeah. Right. Hey, so let's ask you some generic questions just because you are wrapping up the career here. What was your favorite fight? I know you had a 11-4 MMA career. You had a very successful MMA career, but let's focus on the gloves off, bare knuckle. What was your favorite fight of the 9?
Honestly, man, even though I lost, probably Joe Elmore. Like, because I beat that dude's ass. Like, I love Joe. He's a great guy. He's super sweet. He won the fight. You got that on record for the rest of your life, homie. But I beat the fuck out of you, dude. Like, I love you. You're a great guy. But yeah, man, I think that was probably my favorite fight. Just because I showed so much that fight. I showed that I could take a shot. I showed I could give a shot. I showed my durability. I showed my conditioning, my cardio, my combinations. Like, I showed so much in that fight. My stock skyrocketed after that.
Absolutely.
So I'd say that was probably probably the one that did it for me. Julian was fun, but it was terrifying and it hurt. The Diego fights were just like nerve-wracking for me. One, because it was my debut, and the second one was like I had to get my get back, and I was in Mexico, so that was kind of scary.
Tom,
the 55 run was nice, but there wasn't.
Can I say this? You just talked about beating the shit out of Joe Elmore.
Yeah.
The second fight with Diego, let's be honest, you beat the fucking brakes off that guy.
That was nuts.
Oh yeah.
That was
a
massacre,
Diego
man.
got after it. I won't dispute that in any way, shape, or form. It was a hell of a fight. But again, it was more like that was like a revenge fight. Like, dude, you knocked me out in 90 seconds. Like, I'm going to make you fucking pay for this. But you also knocked me out in 90 seconds. So I got to be really on my toes for this fight. So that one wasn't like an enjoyment for me. It was like, no, I need revenge, But like I said, that Joe Elmore fight was like, bro, like, I don't fucking care. Like, they're gonna fire. Like, I'm not getting, my contract's not being renewed after this. So like, who cares what happens? Let's just go out and scrap. Like, I just want to beat your ass. And that fucking mandatory 10-8 rule, man, got me. It got me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was probably my favorite one, man.
That awesome picture came from that fight. Didn't that awesome picture come from that fight?
That left hook shot.
That's a classic, man. That's actually on our flyer for we made flyers for our show, and we picked certain fights of action shots, and that's one of them that's on there.
Perfect. It's a great shot, man.
Joe's like, what the fuck?
Phil Lambert.
They use that picture everywhere.
So
yeah,
he's
well, I mean, like, you just mentioned Phil Lambert. Phil Lambert and Nick Vespi, those two guys do great work for that company, man. They get great shots for sure.
Yeah, they don't get enough credit, man. But the company wouldn't be the company without those shots.
Oh, for sure, man. It really captures it. And like it's like there are like the shot of like Mike Perry spitting the cloud of blood out of his mouth. They captured that at the perfect moment. Like, they got the cloud, like he was Triple H spitting water out of his mouth. It was crazy. I think you probably just answered my next question. Who was your, I was going to say, who's your favorite fight, but who was your favorite opponent? I'm going to guess that's Joe Elmore as well.
No.
Who you got?
No, I love Joe. He's sweet, but no, man, Bryce, honestly, Bryce was my favorite, man. Like,
there you go.
Not only was he my retirement fight, not only did he literally whip me into retirement, but he did it in such a way at an age and experience level that you can't respect anymore. On top of that, he's the sweetest fucking kid you'll ever meet. I don't know if you've ever met this kid.
Oh yeah,
but he is the nicest kid. So yeah, I would say as far as just like all around, just like cool people that I genuinely was like, dude, I fucking love you, and I'm gonna hang a picture of you in my house. Bryce, for sure, 100%.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That 100%. Is very, very cool, man. I'm sure he likes to hear that for sure. Now, how about this one? What was a fight that you wanted in your time at the BKFC, but just never seemed to come to fruition? Was there ever one that you were asking for that you never got? I know you were asking for Palomino and you wanted a title shot and you ended up finally getting that, but was there somebody else that was like, give me that fucking guy?
Man, I don't know that I've ever just really wanted to fight someone outside of Palomino. Like, that guy's got the belt. He's the champ. Like, I want to put my place in history. Let me fight that guy. That said, there is a list of people that I know would have been beautiful fights. Tyler Goodjohn would have been a beautiful fight between him and I. You want to talk about two guys, like when we were both, when he had just finished fighting Palomino and I was coming up in my streak, my 3-fight win streak at 55. You get us at that point, that would have been a beautiful fight. James Lilly, another, European, but out of Wales. James Lilly is another one because he cracks, but he's technical. And that's kind of how I feel I am. Like, I got no problem getting you in a fucking dogfight. You want to turn this into a dogfight? Let's go. But I'd rather be technical and I'd rather be crisp. So like those two fights, not that I was like, yes, like I want to fight those guys, but I knew that those fights would have they would have been glorious fights. Any fight fan would have been like, oh yeah, we're gonna, kind of like the main event for this last one with Gogo and James and Lindsay. Jake Lindsay. Like, anybody who knows anything about bare knuckles, like, that's a good fight.
Yeah,
that's good. Like that's how I feel about Tyler Goodjohn, James Lindsay, James Lilly.
Do you know what?
I really don't think that anybody else would have been.
I have one.
I don't think that anybody would have been worth it.
This was right around the time you fought Joe Elmore, and he was still kicking around in the BKFC. Leonard Garcia would have been a fun fight for you. Leonard Garcia is a legend. He threw down with Joe Elmore after you did, and
I trained Leonard for that fight.
Oh man, I know. I know that you guys are buddies. You guys are buddies, but
Leonard's my boy.
You and Leonard would have put on. You guys would have painted a fucking portrait, man.
That hurt. I don't know how Elmore did it, man. Honestly, because I know how hard Leonard hits, and fuck. Like, I don't envy Joe in any way, shape, or form. Speaking of, he's got a fight coming up here pretty soon.
Dustin Pig.
Yeah.
South
Carolina.
Fuck,
oh, speaking of Leonard Garcia, you know that you retired on Friday, and then for all us diehard combat sports fans that had to watch you on Friday hang up the wraps, we all got to watch Chan Sung Jung hang up the gloves the next day, and Leonard had some legendary wars with fucking Korean Zombie too. So it was a sad damn weekend for us combat sport diehards, dude. Damn you, Tom.
Hardcore fans are hurting.
Yeah, man, it was fucking crazy. Yeah, well, we had to get you on here, man. We like I said, you're one of the most loved fighters by not just the fans. You can look right on our comment section. Coaches, BKFC staff members are in there commenting. You see Evan Zentar in there saying he's gonna miss you. He did ask earlier if you would ever come back in a coaching capacity. He would like to see.
Sure. I'd be down to coach and commentary, but you want somebody to run security, like, sure. Like, I'm down for that. I just don't want to fight anymore. Like, I'm tired of being a tough guy. Like, I've proven that I'm tough. It's cool. I got it. Like, I'm cool. Kind of like what you were talking about earlier about how, like, I'm 34 years old. I'm 34 years old. I've been doing this since I was 18.
Right.
And I would like to be able to enjoy my late 30s, my 40s, maybe start a family, things like that, and I can't do that, if I'm getting my brains beat in. So yeah, man, like, also, I love what I've done, but I'm ready to do something else.
It's also time consuming. Like, you obviously you're getting beat up and you're taking damage and everything, but like you just said, starting a family and that's a commitment, and a lot of people can't do both at the same time.
It's a lot.
I can't. I'll tell you that right now. I know I can't.
Right.
It's a lot.
Fact. So yeah. Like I said, I can't do this no more, man.
Well, I could tell you that I truly appreciated the time we got to watch you and talk to you. We met you in Birmingham for the first time, BKFC 17. I think it was 17, right? BKFC 17.
It was.
Yeah, Birmingham was the first time we ever met you, but we talked to you many times afterwards, and you've always been a gentleman. It's in the nickname. Where'd the nickname come from? Where'd the gentleman of violence come from?
Honestly, I think that was just kind of
came with the style and the stash.
I think it was just something that kind of worked out, like I can't honestly say I know exactly where it came from. It could have been my manager, it could have been my coach, but I just think that it was something that probably made the most sense. I like to pride myself on the fact that I'm a polite human being and I'm cordial and all that other good stuff. So, whoever gave it to me knew what they were talking about.
Yes, they did.
It's fucking fantastic. Mike, you want to give away an autographed photo of Tom Shoaff before we let him go?
We do.
Hey Tom, do you know the good fellas over there at Extreme Bare Knuckle Fans page, Russ and Country, those big boys over there?
I'm sure I've met them once or twice.
Yeah, I think you have. You signed some photographs for those guys, and they would like us to give one of them away on the show tonight.
Beautiful, let's do it.
Yeah, just this one right here. Look at that beautiful shot.
Yeah, that was I signed that on Thursday. I remember exactly where I was when it happened.
Yeah. So there you go.
There you go. So how do we want to do this, Mike? Do we want to let Tom throw a trivia question? Mike, Tom, you got.
He asked him a lot of questions tonight too, so the answer's probably somewhere in there.
That's tricky. All right.
You got something on your mind that somebody can answer this question about yourself and win themselves that picture. What do you got?
Oh goodness, bro! You're gonna put me on the spot like this?
Yeah. What do you got? This is the Tom Shoaff moment right here.
Oh God!
It could be anything, really. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. You know what Lorenzo Hunt was? What was my favorite knockout? He asked, and then people just went for it. And then something fair. Like super.
Okay, I've got it. I've got one, and I know the answer. I've had 9 fights in the BKFC. How many fights have I been cut in?
Ooh, oh my God. Okay, let's go in the comments. We'll start reading them out loud to you, Tom, and you just tell us when we throw out the right answer. How many fights has Tom been cut? 9. Joe Ivy says 9.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's it. You got it. It's all 9 of you.
It's all 9? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Cut every fucking time.
Oh, that is hilarious. So the very first answer was Joe Ivy, 9 times out of 9 fights.
Wow.
Nicely done, Joe.
You're like this goddamn guy right here, Nate Diaz, man. There's never a Nate Diaz fight without blood. There's never a Tom Shoaff fight without blood. It's fucking
true story, man. True story.
It's awesome. And like I said, I want to thank you for all the fun times. We appreciate you as a fighter and as a person. I know Mike feels the same way. Mike, do you have anything else before we let Tom say his last words and get out of here?
Tom, we're going to miss you in this sport, but I'm sure you're not going to go too far. And I really hope that they pick you up to do maybe commentary, backstage interviews, or maybe pick up a little series on the side to throw on the app where maybe you do some stuff with the fighters. I would love to see it. So I'm not going to say goodbye. I'm going to say hopefully we see you again very soon. So, but thank you for everything.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you guys very much, man. I appreciate you guys having me here. I really don't know what else to say besides that, man. Like, you guys are awesome. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate you, man. Do you want to say anything to anybody that's watching before we let you go?
Yeah, for anybody who's watching, I think the most important thing that I could probably say to you as fans is that our fighters in general, get the short end of the stick every time. If you care about your fighters, if you care about the people that you watch on TV and the people that you're fans of, reach out to the company, support the company, and let them know that the reason you're supporting them is because of the fighters, not because of the promotion company, not because of the matchmakers, not because of the security crew. Nobody gives a fuck about the people behind the scenes. They care about the fighters. So if you really want to help fighters, support fighters. Outside of that, thank you all for taking your time and energy to support me, because it truly does mean the world. 5 years ago, I was absolutely nobody. And today, people want to talk to me. So I wouldn't have had that without you guys. So thank you all. Thank you to the fans. Thank you to the companies. Thank you to everybody. I wouldn't be here without you guys. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Tom. You are a gentleman. You're the man, and we appreciate you coming on tonight, and we'll catch up with you down the road at some point. I'm sure we will.
Glad to be here, man. Thank you all very much. I hope you guys
have a good one, man. Thank you.
Take it easy.
There he is, a gentleman of violence.
Yes,
Tom,
sir.
Dude, it's an end of an era for a guy like Tom. I'll tell you right now, he really is. His popularity is fucking crazy. and you and I talked about it at work today. We've been talking about it the last couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
It's rare to find a guy like him who doesn't have the most polished record in the bare knuckle in the bare knuckle world, right? He's 11-4 MMA. That's a fucking damn good pro MMA record. But he went in there and he fought monsters in the BKFC in a weight class that he probably shouldn't have been in.
Mm-hmm.
And what he did was lay it all out on the line every single goddamn time. And he put in fight of the night performances every time he went out there, and his popularity just skyrocketed from fight 1 to fight 9. People get excited when they would see Tom Shoaff's name on a fight card. It didn't even matter who the fuck he was fighting. And for him to step in there on his last fight of his contract before he rides off into the sunset, and for that guy across the ring to be fucking Bryce Henry, the next big thing, you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
good on him for fucking taking that fight and doing what he did. It didn't go I mean, he obviously said he was checked out before he even stepped in there with Bryce, but he went in there, stepped in there with Bryce, and he took his shots.
I fully believe if he didn't get cracked like that, he would have went as long as he needed to. And if he, you know what I mean? If it went his way, it went his way. He's that kind of guy. He's going to go in there and he's going to put it all on the line every time. He has like a cult following kind of, he's a guy that, we're in, and I've said this many times in the past, we're just in the infancy of bare knuckle fighting legalized, and we're going to look back on this. Everyone's going to look back and they're going to see these fighters, and he's going to be one of the guys that people say, remember Tom Shoaff? Man, that guy was nuts. So definitely got to miss him in there. But like I said, he'll be around because you can't not have him around. He's got to be. I feel like he's just a great, like we just talked to him for 45 minutes and he's a great person to talk to. He runs a gym. He's had plenty of fights. He knows a lot about the sport and he has a great, so he's got a great personality. He's going to mind for this fight game. So
dude, he's he's an old
It'd be
soul.
great to see him in there mixing it up with people and doing some extras.
Mike, he's an old soul for a 34-year-old man, for sure, because I'm almost a decade older than that guy, and I feel like he's walked this earth just as long as I have and been through probably just as much shit as I have. He's very polished the way he speaks. He's respectful to everybody, but he's also extremely honest about everything. Blunt. He's extremely honest, and he did it tonight. And Mike and I didn't know where this interview was going to go with him, and he opened up very, very much so about his relationship with some of the people on the staff, and he was respectful about it. He didn't name any names, you know what I mean? He wasn't a dickhead about it. He was just completely honest. And it's unfortunate that happens to a guy like himself, because he was very much a company man. Like we said, he stepped up and he fought anybody they put in front of him, and he put it out there for the fans every single time. And he'll be missed for sure. I'm sure we'll see him around. Yeah, that's all we got this week. No Stu Nods of the week. Ben, you're the Stu Nod of the week. You're the honorary Stu Nod of the week. And I apologize to everybody in the comments if we missed a bunch of comments tonight. I'm sure we could have kept throwing comments up. And
I tried to put a lot of the Tom Shoaff people showing their admiration, showing that they love the guy in this. I try to put that stuff out. Let him know how much he was loved in the sport and all that. But yeah, I think we missed a lot.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you guys all for tuning in. We don't know who we got next week, but we are going to book shows for next Wednesday and Thursday. Next up on the docket is BKFC 50 in Denver, and they're announcing fights left and right for that one. Of course, you got the main event, Lorenzo Hunt and Chris Camozzi, but you got Steve Harilius fighting Josh Copeland. You got Christian Torres on there against Yates. You got Courtney Cameron's back on there. She has an opponent. I don't have all these fights in front of me right now, but
I got you. I'm working.
We're gonna start honing in on the BKFC 50 event. Here we go.
Here we go. So we've got Hunt here, Hunt Camozzi, Copeland Harilius. So you said Edwards Mano.
Oh, dude, Edwards showed up in his first time out there and whooped some ass. That's a good one right there.
Oh yeah.
You got Angel Core back on the card.
Yes.
There we go.
He fought in Denver too that one time, right?
Scroll down. The next one is one to watch.
Yeah.
Keegan Vandermeer
Weinmiller.
and Dylan Weinmiller. Oh my God. This is Weinmiller's what? 4th fight this year?
Let's do this. Ready?
This will be his 4th.
It says 2-1. Yeah. So,
right.
Yeah.
Since February. So this will be his 4th fight of 2023. Pay attention to that one. All right. Who else do we got?
Vandermeer, for everybody who doesn't know, he's the guy that started off the first Denver card that they ever had, the Mike Richmond card, when Mike Richmond fought Isaac Doolittle in the main event. I think he started the night off and he hit his opponent. His opponent was, let me check right here. His opponent was Zeb Vincent, which I don't really know that guy too much, but you'll remember the crack of his
It was the loudest punch.
Hitting that kid's head and like busted the kid's head open and also broke his hand at the same time. And it sounded like a large branch falling off a tree in a hurricane. It was so fucking loud that everybody
the way I said it that night, I sounded like a Louisville Slugger break-in on a home run swing. Like
it sounded like a dump truck falling off the Empire State Building. And it looked like this. Oh! If anybody knows what that is, throw it in the comments.
Yates Torres, we talked about that one.
Yep, that should be good. Yates had a good knockout. We know Torres.
Kerry Caprio's coming back.
Yep.
There you go, man. So we're gonna start loading up.
Courtney Cameron.
Oh, Courtney Cameron's back on the card. Yes. You got Gabriel Mota, right? See his eyes there?
Yes.
Gabriel Mota. So yeah. And look, Vincent's back after getting hit in the head by Keegan Vandermeer. He wants another shot at the.
There he is.
There it is. So, man, hey, thank you to Tom Shoaff for coming on, and thank you guys for all tuning in. I know you wanted to hear from him, after his retirement fight, so we had to get that done. That's all we got for tonight, Mike. Unless you got anything else for these peeps.
Hey, I'm good till next week.
Enjoy your weekend. Hey, guys, it's Labor Day weekend. It's a long weekend, so fucking enjoy yourself.
I got a 4-day weekend right now.
Yeah. Don't drink and drive. Drink and then let somebody else drive, and then you guys switch and then let them drink for a while you drive. You know, isn't that how it goes?
I see. Hold on. Before I see, hold on 1 second here. Throw this up. Julian is on the card. On the Denver card, are you saying? He's on the Denver card. He signed to fight on the Denver card officially? Because he's
Julian
not
Lane?
on the card. Yeah, that's who she's talking about. Because Ryan, Ryan is friends with him. That must be who she's talking about.
Wow.
Let us know. Who's he fighting? Throw it in the comments. Let's see it.
Okay, all right. Julian Lane. I mean, another Tom Shoaff connection there. And you know what? Like, Julian Lane is a fucking tank.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And we all see Tom. Tom is a lanky, skinnier guy. And Julian Lane is built like a fucking brick wall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't imagine getting hit by Julian Lane is very fun. Tom probably shouldn't even have been in the ring with him that night. He was probably 185 pounds stepping into the ring against Tom. And he went out there and did his thing, went the distance, and lost by decision to Julian Lane. But that just shows you how tough that fucking guy is.
Oh, Big Ben sent me an interview earlier, right?
Okay.
And it's with Mike Perry. Because we're talking about Julian Lane and Mike Perry. And the reason I bring this up is because I guess he said he's going to be fighting his last co-main event, apparently. So we were talking about who was Mike Perry's last co-main event. Well, in the BKFC, it was Julian Lane, right? So it can't be him. Ixnay him, right?
Yeah.
So then we look, and Ben's like, Mickey Gall? Mickey Gall was his last. I was like, why the hell would it be Mickey Gall? Mickey Gall isn't a stand-up fighter.
Mickey Gall's a jiu-jitsu kid.
In MMA, he got his ass kicked by fucking Perry in that fight. So why would it be him? Who was the guy before that? Because I feel like maybe Mike Perry forgot that he fought Mickey Gall on a co-main event. The guy before that was Donald Cowboy Cerrone. Yes. So I think that that's what he meant and maybe made a mistake by saying it was the last guy he fought in the co-main event.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be Mickey Gall.
No way.
Mickey Gall's famous because he beat CM Punk, right? that's
right.
That's why he's saying.
Yeah,
he's not a striker.
And Michael Jackson too, right?
Yeah, and Michael Jackson. Yes, not that Michael. He dug him up from the grave and choked him out. Yeah. Hey, if it's Denver for fucking Mike Perry and Cowboy Cerrone, they better announce that tomorrow. They better announce it tomorrow because we're 22 days away from the event. So they're not on. That's not on the Denver card. Anyways, man, it was great talking to Tom tonight, and I got to wrap this shit up because I got a house full of kids, and I might burn the place down in a few minutes. You got anything else for the peoples, Mike?
No, got nothing else. I love you all. Thank you so much. Make sure you like and share. Please tell everybody about Bare Knuckle Fighting. Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Get the word out there. Let's
go,
sport.
boy, right? And let's go, boy.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even play that tonight. Got to play it at least one time, right? Got to play it.
Shout out, let's go, boy. Shout out, let's go, boy.